Hey there everyone, my name is Ryan Schul. Welcome to my channel. I'm going to go the camera off today because I have some family visiting from out of town and it gets really chaotic really quick sometimes, and I don't want to subject you to that level of insanity. So the video today I think is pretty interesting. This is Trump's tariffs. I did another video about Trump's tariffs. That was more investment focused, like how to profit when these uh, make profitable investment decisions when these tariffs kick in. That was a few months ago. Now the tariffs are here. Things are starting to materialize and get a little bit more mature. So this video is going to have a very different tone, and the narrative is going to be totally different. The last one was all investment based. How do you create profits once these tariffs kick in? This is just simply plotting and charting the impact of the tariffs themselves. So in this case, I'm going to create a stacked bump chart. The benefits here is that we can easily show contrast between different effects that we're looking at. We can rank items by the impact that they're having, prioritize attention for the user, show magnitude and trajectory, right? Bump charts are great for that. Great for executive storytelling, support scenario what if variants, good for category grouping, and compact that basically replaces a bunch of different charts with one single chart. I think that's pretty cool. We have interactive tooltips because we're using Plotly. Plotly is my favorite go-to tool in, not overall tool, I mean like charting tool in Jupyter Notebook environment. And we can create reports with a positive impact. So I found this data online. I'm creating this data. I didn't validate this. I think it comes from a reputable source. So I'm just going to go with this. Okay, so we have different products and then the sectors that these profits align with. Okay, and all I'm doing here is creating a data frame, sorting it by short. Okay, and this is short term and then long term. So what's going to happen in the short term, what's going to happen in the long term, and how these tariffs impact prices to the end consumer. Okay, so short term is looking out a few months, and long term is looking out a much longer horizon, right? So pretty straightforward there, short and long term. So in this case, I'm going to create some colors. I'm going to define my bump chart in Plotly. Remember, this is a stacked bump chart. You don't see this too often, but in some scenarios, I think it's very useful. It's maybe I would put this in the same bucket with a Sankey chart. You don't see Sankey charts, but in certain cases, if you have to show the flow of something, Sankey charts are fantastic, okay? If you have to look at different impacts in a very compact environment, I think a stacked bump chart is very appropriate, right? So you have to kind of pick the right tool for your storytelling agenda, right? And go with that. So a chart can be very informative and very useful in some cases, but again, you have to pick the right one to communicate the message. If you pick the wrong chart, it can be very confusing and frustrating for your audience too, right? So you have to pick the right tool for the job. So I'm creating some metrics over here, looking at the long and the short, right, that we get from this data frame over here. This is short term. This is going out a few months. This is going out a few years. There's going to be a big bump at the beginning. You'll see that, right? And it's pretty obvious. I mean, the chart is great. I think a picture is worth 1,000 words. I've said that many times in many of my videos on this channel. But you can kind of see right here, this big bump, short term, long term kind of tapers off, right? So that's pretty obvious. But the chart tells a more rich, more fulfilling story. So what we're doing in here, it gets a little bit complicated, but it's not too bad. We're building all the inner workings for the Plotly chart. We take everything and combine it together, mix it up, and then append everything together, create the chart, and assign some dimensions here. I have a width of 1100. These are pixels and height of 1000. This is to capture everything in the chart universe. And this is what we get at the end. So you can see the big bump right here comes early, right? And later on we have kind of like a tapering off a little bit, but there's still kind of a pretty significant impact on the prices of all these materials, right? So if you look closely, put the mouse over, you should see the details here. So this is metals short term, 41%, long run 17.3. And if you go over here, there's metals 41, 17.3. If you go to the lower end of the spectrum here, we have fishing 10.2 and 6.3. Down here we have fishing, right? 10.2, 6.3. So everything is plotted out nicely. It has the impact, that has the effect that we're looking for. I think it looks pretty nice. And because these are plotly charts, you can go ahead and turn off some of these different items over here, right? And then turn them back on and they reappear, right? So if for some reason you want to make it disappear or reappear, of course you can zoom in and see the details here, double click outside the chart, and everything reappears as it was originally plotted. So that's kind of it. Pretty short video today, just 5-6 minutes here, pretty short one. But I just wanted to show you the potential of a stacked bump chart and the practical application here for this data. Again, I found this online. You can search around. You might find slightly different variations of this. And again, I didn't validate all this stuff, but I think the source is fairly reputable. So let's just go with it and say this is correct. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and download this or export this as HTML like I do with all my videos. I will upload the code so you can copy and paste it into your own Jupyter environment and run this for yourself. I will drop that on YouTube later today when I drop the video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Okay, thanks for your time today, and talk to you soon. Bye.